Fletcher, Tabuto.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I ask for your forbearance. I will rise many times to speak to this piece of legislation, but I just wanted to lay out some generalities, and because when I spoke last on this piece of legislation, I said to the Minister that consultation for this type of legislation is essential, and not just consultation at this phase. The experts came to the Minister and said, actually, what you need to do for these large omnibus pieces of legislation, these remedial matters pieces of legislation, is actually what would be wise is to come to us early with draft form, a draft form of what it is you're trying to achieve, so that our industry experts could come in and make fair and reasonable submissions on that draft, so that we're not in a position, for example, right now, the Minister's SOP for the day is about 20 pages of minutiae changes to clauses and information within the Act. It's a tidy up. I acknowledge it's fixing up a lot of the changes that have been made subsequently, but we continue down a road of necessitating fix-up after fix-up, and we've spoke about unintended consequences on numerous occasions. Speaking specifically to part one, I'll go straight there, and I just want to acknowledge the contribution from the previous speaker. And actually, to be fair, I'd like to acknowledge the National Government and specifically the Minister, who is genuinely trying to fix up this large this large issue when it comes to the child support payments issue. I acknowledge that he is genuinely trying to fix up the situation. It is a big concern for all New Zealanders, and the number's already been put to us. 70% of that debt is kind of backdated penalty fines. 70 to 75 is that backdated penalty fines. And so when you look at that, you understand that there is a problem. There is a problem and it needs to be addressed, but it is a balancing act. And so I wrote down a few notes, and I wanted just to bring to the committee's attention a few issues that would be good to have some clarification on, and perhaps the Minister can get up and address it. And so I noted down section 57.1, Mr Chair. It empowers the Commissioner to make what seems to be very arbitrary decisions on the chasing of debt. Arbitrary, the problem with the section is it allows the Commissioner to pursue debt or not based on his call of whether or not the cost of the chase is too great, or more specifically relating to the legislation, if the pursuit would be an inefficient use of resources. And so whilst that sounds good on paper, sir, and you look at it and what is the objective measure? That is our concern. That is New Zealand First's concern. It makes sense, it looks sensible on paper, but what is the objective measure? There was a same concern with the ability for the Commissioner to write off debt if he decides it is fair and reasonable to do so. Will the level of what is fair and reasonable change from Commissioner to Commissioner, and dare I say it, from case to case? There's some issues there about objective measures, and I've spoken previously on that specific issue about exemplars and definitions and the argument of objectivity. I just want to touch on the issue around costs with this specific issue, because it is incredibly important to acknowledge that this current Minister has picked up a huge issue from IRD. But I won't go that far to use that language, but a big bag of something, Mr Chair. And the irony of it is our financial experts didn't really factor in that capital cost of implementation. And so now we're in that catch-up mode. We're riding I'm not going to say writing off, that's the wrong phrase, but we're moving from quarter to quarter, kind of adjusting the budgets on the run. So we in New Zealand First acknowledge that there is
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr.